My mind is playing tricks. I'm in the in-between, fighting over my head like a dead living, getting creep, getting out of my...
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Naomi and I post beauty content. If you're interested in seeing more of that, please subscribe to my channel and also follow me on Instagram at Naomi Tost. So, new background. It actually took me so long to set this up. I'm glad I finally got it. I'm gonna start filming all the Halloween stuff, so I decided to just change my background and I will be doing more special effects type of videos. So I hope you guys are interested in watching those because I'm gonna try to get these in a lot more often for the next 2 months. I am still going to continue to do reviews and just regular makeup type of videos, except we're going to have this background going on, which is completely fine, right? If you didn't watch my last video, I am doing a giveaway for August, and yes, it's in September, but I got a little bit behind and I explained it all in that video. So if you want to enter the August one, it will be down in the description. I am also doing a September one, but that will be later in the month, but the August one will be on for a bit. So if you want to enter it, go ahead and check out my previous video. Today we're just going to keep it super simple and I'm going to show you guys how to block your eyebrows, which actually turned out pretty good because I haven't done it in a while and I'm shocked by how well it turned out. I didn't film the makeup look, but if you guys are interested in seeing that, please let me know in the comments. This video is mostly going to show you how to block your eyebrows and I'll give you some tips on how to make it last longer, and that is basically it. So let's get to it. Before we get started, I do want to show you guys the products that I'm going to be using, and they are going to be listed down in the description if you would like to purchase them and use my link. I do get a small percentage, but as always, no pressure. You can always use whatever website you would like, or you can even go to the store and buy some of these items. I'm going to start off by using the Thoyer's facial toner. You can also use any regular witch hazel for this part. Then I'm going to use a very simple Emmer's glue stick. Then we're also going to need some powder, and I'm going to use the RCMA no color powder. If you are interested in purchasing this is literally like the best product. You can use this for beauty makeup as well. And if you guys have seen my other videos, I use this so often. There's only like a little bit left, but I always buy it. It's so cheap. I think it's like $10, but this is a lot of powder that you get. So I do highly recommend purchasing this product. I don't know if you guys heard that, my phone. Gotta turn it off. I do have a couple Ben Nye color wheels that I will be using. Again, you don't have to use these ones specifically. I'm sure there's something you can find on like Amazon or something, but I did post a link for these ones if you want to purchase these specifically. These are professional grade and they work really great as well if you're interested in purchasing them. I'm using the rainbow wheel and I'm going to use the SK11 tattoo cover. So I'm going to use this as the foundation. If you can't find this, you can use like concealer or even foundation. But I do recommend using something a little thicker. These are really thick because they are made to cover tattoos. So if you do want to purchase this, I will put the link down in the description as well. And then for the tools, I'm just going to use a powder puff for the powder. Then you're going to need a palette, also a spoolie, and I'm also going to use a spatula. You don't have to use this. You can also use the end of the spoolie for the part that I'm going to use this for, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So I'm going to start off with the toner. I'm just going to put it all over this cotton round. So I'm just going to make sure my skin is like perfectly cleansed. You don't want any oils in there, so feel free to go back and forth. You want to make sure they're dry before you put glue, and I just realized the toner is just kind of sitting there, so I'm going to give it a second and make sure that's dry before I move on with the glue. And you want to make sure you brush them first. I mean, I don't have very much hair, but especially if you have bushier eyebrows, you want to make sure your eyebrows are brushed before you put the glue on, because once you put the glue, it's going to be really hard. So, and you have to be quick as well. So I'm going to start off by applying it the opposite direction of hair growth. And then we're going to apply it the regular way. And you want to go in with the spoolie right away. And you want to go straight up. Don't go to the side. You're not trying to make this pretty because it's going to get covered up. And the best way your hair doesn't get stacked on top of each other is by applying it, laying it down straight up. Okay. So mine's already drying. So it's too late to like keep brushing. So now I just got to use the spatula. Just want to make sure I'm applying a good amount of glue. So there does seem to be an issue with me shaving my eyebrow because some hairs can't go down. Which hopefully it doesn't make it look too crazy, but... So this is what I needed the spatula for. Just wanted to make sure I was pressing the hair flat on my skin. But if you don't have one, you can just use the end of the spoolie to press it down. I just don't feel like, for me, the pressure is strong enough because it's plastic and just kind of bends with my skin. And the spatula, it just kind of stays really hard and straight. Yeah, it's drying already, so I want to stop that before it gets too messy. Once it's drying, it tries to like peel off and you can kind of see it. I'm just going to use a wet Q-tip to kind of blend that out. And you don't want to be too straight because you're going to be able to see those lines through the makeup. So don't try to like clean it up perfectly. Just try to blend it out. It is glue, so it'll just kind of fade into your skin. I think I'm going to apply more glue before I go in with the powder. So now we're just going to let it dry. I'm going to wait a little bit. You don't want to put the powder when it's still wet, because it will ruin it. Like, I'm serious. This is like very important. Do not put powder till it dries. So give it some time, you know, take your time on it. Don't do it when you're like super rushed, because then it's just going to turn out horrible. So just wait it out. I'm just going to wait for it to dry, and then I will show you guys how I apply the powder. I'm going to use my little palette, and I'm going to put some of the powder on it. And I'm going to use my little powder puff to set the eyebrows. So even though it is dry, it's still sticky. Like, it is glue at the end of the day, so it is pretty sticky still, even though it's dry. So you want to make sure you set them. Do not skip this step. Please don't do it. And I'm just going to apply that all over. And it can get messy. Usually if I have to do this on someone, I'll try to put something to cover their clothes. Because powder can literally get all over the place. And even though it's just powder, it is hard to remove from clothes, especially if you're going somewhere like right after. It's almost like, you know how like sometimes it's like really hard to get deodorant off your clothes? It's kind of how it is with powder, so you want to be careful. If you are doing this on somebody else, make sure you cover the clothes. Now I'm just gonna wait again. Oh my god, I look insane. I'm gonna wait again and just gonna let that set in, and I'm gonna wait for like 2 to 3 minutes before I move on to the next step. So I let that set in for a bit, and now I'm just gonna try to get some of the powder off. This is the same powder puff, but I'm just trying to get rid of all that powder that was sitting on top. But at the same time, I'm pressing it in. And I'm just going to use a brush to lightly get rid of the extra powder just sitting on top. And again, you have to be gentle with all this, so just press it in, you know, try to kind of swoop it out lightly. So you can put more glue after you do this part if you have a lot of hair texture. This will ensure that the glue at the bottom doesn't move, but then you're also adding more glue on top. So my texture is not pretty heavy because, like I said, I have my eyebrows are pretty thin, so I don't have a lot of texture going on. But if you have heavy, thick eyebrows, you might want to add another layer of glue. So you're going to do the glue stick again, and then you're going to do powder again. I think mine looks pretty good. Now I'm going to use the Ben Nye Rainbow Wheel, and I'm going to use the orange color right here. And I'm going to mix that with my skin tone color, which is probably going to be this yellow one. And I'm going to mix those two together to kind of get a tone similar to my skin. Like, you don't want it to be too bright of an orange or too dark of an orange. Like, it has to be somewhere in between so that it matches your skin. So I got most of the powder off of it, so I'm going to use this, and I'm basically just going to put some of the orange on here. And this orange is obviously too dark for my skin tones, so I'm going to add a little bit of the tattoo cover wheel, and I'm going to use this yellowy color because that's kind of like my skin tone. And I'm going to mix a little bit of that in the orange. It still needs a little bit more. It still looks a little too orange. So as you can tell, this one's a little bit more like my skin tone. It obviously still has the orange tone, but it's not as dark. It's not too bright. It's like perfectly... I think this would be like a perfect blend. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that over my eyebrows now. And I'm just going to use a flat brush for this part. I've seen people use powder color, which you can do, but it's a little harder to cover a powder than it is to cover cream. And I'm just going to apply that all over. And you want to make sure you cover all the black hair or whatever color your hair is. Mine is black. So I just want to make sure I cover all that. And try not to do too much touching. I know it sounds kind of weird, but if you overdo it, the glue is going to start dissolving. So you just have to be quick, be careful. And this part doesn't have to be perfect because it is going to get covered up. But you do just want to make sure that you cover all the darkness of your eyebrows. And you might have to go a little bit lower, just so that when you apply the foundation, it all blends in nicely. I don't know if you guys can see, but like here, I already did it too much, and you can see the black hair peeking through. But that basically means we can't go over it anymore. So I'm not gonna go over that part until I set it. And basically what I'm doing right here is I just want to make sure I don't have any like sharp edges, because I want it to be easy to blend when I apply the foundation on top. And if you have some like super sharp ends, it's gonna be really hard to blend. So just try to buff it out as much as you can. And then again, I'm gonna add the powder. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that sit and I will be right back. All right, so now I'm just gonna wipe this off. And that is basically it. I cannot do any more layers because it's getting a little funky. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and do my makeup like I normally do. You want to use a concealer though to cover up the eyebrows. You don't want to use foundation because foundation is too wet and it's possible it will make it fall apart. So if you use a concealer, it's a little bit thicker. Some of them have more of a matte finish. So for example, per usual, like the Tarte Shape Tape, it's very mattifying. So this is a great concealer to cover up eyebrows. And you also don't want to use a wet beauty blender for this. I've tried it and it makes the glue fall apart because there's water involved. So don't use a wet beauty blender, just use a brush. I don't have very much of this concealer left, as you can tell. There we go. And again, just be careful with how much you're rubbing and tugging and everything. And surprise, we're gonna put some more powder on top. And this should just blend it right into your skin. Alright guys, so here we are. So doing this definitely is a very inexpensive way to cover up your eyebrows, especially if you're just doing like a photo shoot, or even like me, you're just doing it for a YouTube video. I do feel like it looks very different on camera than it does in person. It's definitely a little more textured in real life, which is fine because this is something that you want to do for like photo shoots or even like stage. A lot of drag queens like to do it. I also know a lot of them rather shave their eyebrows because this is a lot of work, and although it's cheap, you save a lot of time by just shaving your eyebrows if this is a look that you're just gonna do. This eyebrow got kind of messed up because I definitely overdid it. So some of the glue is already breaking down because I put too much concealer. I hope you guys like this look. It was actually drag inspired, and I kind of just looked at the palette. I didn't really know what I was doing. But it actually turned out okay. I kind of like it. Alright guys, if you're still watching, please don't forget to thumbs up this video and subscribe to my channel. Go watch my last video because I am doing a giveaway, and I will be doing a bunch of special effects makeup looks for the next 2 months because Halloween and because why not? So don't forget to subscribe. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.
'Cause my life I wanna keep getting